Hello friends, I am Michael Kingswood and I write fiction for fun and profit. This is story time where I normally talk about stories or read stories that I've written and don't do a whole lot else, but I feel like I'm going to diverge from that a little bit on this one because there's been a lot of chicanery going on in YouTube land and internet land over this last week or so, and I've been a little out of not necessarily out of touch. I've had my head down finishing that book, which is finally done now, but I've still noticed over the last couple months there's been a bunch of chicanery down Smash JT, and the casino dudes went and tried to pull the rug out from Razerfist, and then the freaking the rippaverse guys and the comicsgate guys are banging each other's heads again over Yellow Flash's comic Indiegogo thing. And it was the Indiegogo comic thing that really caught my attention this week as I was finishing up this book, because I was like, Van Sciver's boys are throwing shade at Yellow Flash and Rippa, and Jon Del Arroz is coming in and throwing shade at Van Sciver and those guys, and Yellow Flash is, everybody's throwing shade at each other, and I'm like scratching my head like, what in the devil is going on? Now I know I'm not a comics guy per se. I've got some old back there. I got a couple of cases of old 80s and 90s comic books from back when I was in high school, and I still have some old X-Men's and Wolverines and what have you, but I've never been a huge comics guy, and I write books, not comics. All the same, I've backed a few of Jon Del Arroz's Indiegogos over the years, and I actually backed one of Van Sciver's ones as well. There's the one he did a couple years back to get money to help Camelot. Cody Dennison raised money to start his for the first year of his NASCAR racing thing. I still haven't gotten the rewards from Ethan. I got all of them from John, so that tells you something there. But I didn't really care about the ones for Ethan because it was like, shoot, man, I thought it was really cool that this guy was going to get to race NASCAR, and it's like, he needs a little help. I'm happy to help him out, and that's the only reason I backed the campaign. And watching his updates on his streams and seeing him doing his racing thing, that's almost good enough. I mean, I bought a little car. It'd be nice to get it at some point. But, whatever. Anyway, the point is, I haven't paid a huge amount of attention to the comicsgate guys and the Rippa guys. I've seen Eric July on Friday Night Tights and a few other places. He seems like a good dude who's on top of his stuff, and I've seen a few things that Ethan's done over the year, streams and what have you. And I know he's done a bunch of good campaigns, and it's like, okay, well, he seems like he's on top of his stuff. And Del Arroz, I don't really know him. I've interacted with him a few times, such that he would know who I am, and he's been helpful on a couple things. I wouldn't say we're friends, very loose acquaintances, frequent some of the same spots of the internet, if you will, but I had no idea why he was getting involved. So I was like, I have all kinds of confusion about what was going on, and so some people gave me some pointers as to, in the last few days I've been digging up some of the history of all this chicanery, because I remember when the comicsgate thing started way back in the wind, but I haven't really paid much attention to it since. So I've been going back through and watching and listening as I drive around or do stuff, listen to the stuff that Rippa said, listen to the stuff, some streams that Ethan did, and interactions with all of those dudes and with other people, and try to understand a little bit more of the context, just because I was curious, because it's been blowing up. And last night I was, as part of that, as I was driving around, I had Van Sciver's cast on just to again get more info. This morning I wake up and I see that Del Arroz is throwing shade at Van Sciver again, and this time about the Razerfist thing. Now the Razerfist thing, I mean, we won't need to go into that, but anybody who's been paying attention knows what's going on with there. But it's like it directly related to something that Van Sciver was talking about saying on his stream last night, and I immediately see that John's kind of off base here, and I wanted to talk it through for my own edification, if nothing else. So let's just see what John's saying here. Cut through to the chase here.
And so now he's gone at Razerfist. And this is the next weird step because he's been going at Yellow Flash all week. It's not been landing. I think they're losing followers because of it, because it's like, why would you do that? And now Razerfist has come out because what's happened is a couple of YouTubers who are drama YouTubers, Andy Worski, PPP, who are out there, going out there, and they're spreading this information, claiming that Razerfist, again, was doing things illegal, like pedophilia type of stuff. And that's false. It's unequivocally false. It didn't happen. It was impossible for it to have happened. And so it is slander. They're slandering him live on air for drama clicks and trying to destroy him. And very, very sad. Why? Because he's a Christian right-wing creator. That's all it comes down to with all these guys. And then Smash JT, another guy out in the sphere who's been increasingly moving to drama clicks. He's got 100,000 subs. Did the same thing. He started going after Razorfish and all that. So Razorfish made a video clearing it up, and he threatened these guys' YouTube channels with action for libel slander on this. And he showed up, and he actually said something because it was getting to the point where it was getting too much. Now, with all this going on, Ethan Van Sciver, of course, has been very careful not to attack Razerfist. I think he was scared of him. It's really what it came down to early on, because Razerfist, of course, packs a punch when he says stuff. And so he actually had some people in comicsgate going against him. A guy named Micah C. Curtis was I think he was calling Razerfist a white nationalist or something ridiculous back in the day. And Ethan Van Sciver actually shut him down and told his little Lieutenant Micah there at the time to not attack him. Very, very funny. I've never seen Ethan do that, but this is one of the few instances that happened. And so as things have changed, as now...
I think it's presuming that Van Sciver was giving orders to all these people. I mean, apparently he gave them orders to stop. This dude orders to stop attacking Razor, which is cool, but it kind of implies that I have to assume that this Micah dude, whoever the hell this guy is, probably was doing it on his own. It sounded at the beginning like John was saying that Ethan had him do it and then shut him down. I don't know. Anyway, continue my own.
Now the blood sports are moving along, and as he's attempting to, of course, make his entire channel a Dick Masterson blood sports, we're going to attack right-wing creators all the time and try to personally destroy them because he doesn't do comics anymore. He gets super chats from that. He's now going at Razerfist. He says, I saw this stuff from Andy Worski and PPP. I believed them about Razerfist. I decided I wasn't going to support and promote Razerfist's next comics project to my comicsgate audience because this made me think he was guilty of the crimes they described. My audience probably would have added 400,000 to a Razerfist project with my promotion. Terrible. 400,000. So this guy's, look at this. It's all about him. It's all about his, I would have promoted it, but now I won't because this looks bad. And it's an attempt to make, of course, people attack Razerfist and the like. And it's really...
Yeah, that sounds great, except that I was actually listening to his stream as I was driving last night, and that's not what is going on here, brother. Let's go look at what actually happened on Ethan's stream, and which was in parallel with what he said there on Twitter. It's going to take a few minutes. We'll mostly run it straight through, but pause occasionally just in case if something comes up. But here's from the start of his thing on Razerfist.
Here's Razerfist.
This will be the one and only time I've ever addressed these fatuous accusations. On the subject of defamatory nonsense, particularly promulgated by
Smash
the
JT.
online brigade,
I knew there was a J
I
in
tend
there.
to hold with a quote from the great John Milton. The best apology for false accusers is silence, sufferance, and honest deeds set against dishonest
Kino
words.
Casino, not Culture
But
Casino.
I also knew that while the accusations were libelous and shockingly simple to disprove, they were also entirely too lurid for some talent-bereft drama hump and half-wits not to make the mistake of attaching their channels, reputations, and indeed their entire careers.
Now, hold on a second. By the way, somebody
my...
sent this to me and said, do you think he's talking about you? I said, why would he be talking about me? And they go, well, he said drama humping half-wit. I said, I see what you mean. But I think this time he wasn't talking about me. I turn up my volume here. I can barely hear myself. Okay, here we go.
Reams upon reams of receipts
Drama humping
and end their
halfwit.
careers
It's me.
overnight. So I hope you fellas enjoyed the 2-week victory lap I
Clearly he's enjoying this and joking around already, right? Okay.
allowed you all to have, because now karma comes to collect. And if you thought Pro Jared had receipts to prove his
Remember Pro
innocence,
Jared?
buckle up, bitch. Fortunately for me, I don't even really need all of that exculpatory proof to disprove the most serious of these claims, because as many of my fans have already helpfully pointed out,
Yeah. He's not talking about you. I know. See, he's already started the joking around here.
the available timeline already disproves them. If I were to allege that Elon Musk robbed a jewelry store on June 13th at 6 o'clock p.m.,
I'm
seems to me step one in establishing or annihilating that allegation would be to check the surveillance footage on June 13th at 6 o'clock on the dot. So, as internet sleuths have already deduced, the age and birth date of the accuser, in order for this relationship to have occurred when they say it did, I would have had to be dating this person.
I didn't like the way he said that. And the way it was a little effeminate when he said when they say it, that kind of bothered me. Hold on.
As internet sleuths have already deduced, due to the age and birth date of the accuser, in order for this relationship to have occurred when they say it did.
Okay, right there, when he said dead, he kind of like swallowed a little bit and kind of said that in a little bit of a childish way, which makes me kind of go, see, I don't know any of this. Like, I don't know if any of the I believe Razerfist usually. But I don't, I'm on Razerfist's side about that. But yeah, I didn't.
I'm on Razerfist's side about that, the man says. Bear that in mind. Continuing on.
Like that, man. These accusations really hurt his feelings. I will say that.
I would have had to be dating this person in or throughout 2015. Any later than this, and the entire timeline collapses. Fortunately for me, 2015 was also significant in that it's the same year I began streaming in earnest. The name of that series is Razerfist Arcade, and the entire thing is publicly available in a single handy playlist on my channel's front page, and has been since 2015. In fact, if you click on only the third video on that playlist, a live stream of the game Thief 4 that originally aired on March 18th, 2015, you can disprove these allegations within about 30 seconds. Because at that point in the video, a woman's voice can be heard.
Do you ever plan on playing or reviewing the original Dark Souls?
Yeah, I've heard the original Dark Souls is a lot better than 2. Hold on, there is actually... My lady just hurt herself. There is actually a way.
I don't want to call Andrea my lady. Once, twice, 3 times my lady. I don't want to call her my bitch either. I think like guys who call her, my bitch. The wife isn't cool. That's gay. What do I call Andrea? I just call her Andrea, I think. Yeah. My lady.
To get the identity of the voice, my actual girlfriend at the time. A 26-year-old white woman with a high soprano voice, as contrasted with the lower Latina voice of the accuser. She was my earliest co-host on Razerfist Arcade. She interacted fairly and warmly with my audience, hence why they affectionately named her Lady Fist.
What's up,
which is
Mr.
why I
and
find
Mrs.
it so
Lloyd
unctuous
Lord
that drama-humping
Chio.
douchebags found it necessary to write her out of existence in order to forward a false narrative about a relationship I was not in at this time.
Mrs.
One of the
Van
worst
Sciver.
mistakes a defamation merchant can make when inventing a lie about someone is to include a third party in the lie who can gainsay your story. In this case, my current co-host and longtime editor, Taran Gell, was there the entire time and can confirm I was with Lady Fist not only in 2015, but for several years thereafter.
We started streaming in 2015.
Yeah.
You
Lady
became
Fist.
co-host shortly after that. So there's streams from like February and March where she's the co-host. After you became co-host, do you remember her still being in the picture?
Absolutely. You would often see her this would be back in your old place, that she'd be in the back chilling on the bed.
I don't know about this.
This is where he starts the bit. pay close attention, it's kind of hard to miss it's hard to see that he's joking. No, really. Holy smokes.
Going in and out or whatever.
Right.
But she was still there.
See, to me, I heard these accusations from, I was watching and I saw Kino Casino make these accusations against Razerfist. And I went, what? And I listened and I believed them because I was like, well, Kino Casino's never lied before. So, why wouldn't I believe? Look at all the people who watch Kino Casino. They're people filled with integrity. Why? Kino Casino's audience? They are salt of the earth. Kino Casino themselves. PPP. What a terrific individual. There's no possible way. And this is what I was thinking in my head. I was like, there's no possible way that Kino Casino would be lying about Razerfist. And I don't know. I mean, I've spoken to Razerfist a couple times. I never met him. And the thing about it is that, Kino Casino at the time was very popular. Like, I thought to myself a bunch of things. I said, there's no way that they would be lying about Razerfist. There's no possible way that they'd be lying about him. What would they have to gain over that, right? So surely, like, if they were lying about Razerfist and his relationships and all the things that they were saying about him, they would probably be in real trouble. Think about what's happening to Neil Gaiman right now. Like, Neil Gaiman, accusations are being made about him, and certainly they must be true, because if they aren't true, Neil Gaiman will probably sue, right? So you don't want to make false accusations about people who have money and all that stuff, because they might sue. Oh fuck! Oh no! Neil Gaiman is suing. Neil Gaiman seeks $500,000 from accuser Carolyn Wallner. I think this is the woman who got in the bathtub with him.
It's not. That's the woman who he made have sex with him in exchange for not having to pay rent, and so he wouldn't kick her and her kids out after the place on his property after their husband died, allegedly. And he's not suing them, saying that what she said was false. He's suing because she broke her NDA. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can see how this is a bit that he's doing, right? Continuing on.
Oh, so anyway, the point is, I can't believe it. Like, I'd be shocked if PPP and Andy Worski would make something like this up.
Seeing my asshole like that, for sure.
All right.
Will not be here to promote him because he
seeing
comic book. I'm not going to help him. Any future projects that Razerfist has, any promotion that he needs, I will not be here to promote him because those guys say he does. So I pulled Comicsgate basically away, my audience away from Razerfist, probably costing him something near $400,000 in funding. But you know what? He doesn't deserve it. If those guys are right about who he is and what he's done, he doesn't deserve it, right? So that's just the way it is. So I believe those guys. I believe what they had to say about Razerfist, and therefore, no, won't be. Damn, I might go on a diet after that scene, says Charles Stein. Call me Texas. This bit is terrible.
It is a terrible bit, but it is a bit. It's obviously a bit. He's obviously not serious. Anyway, continuing on until he finishes up the last of it here.
Shut up, Tex. So in fact, it says, no, you didn't. Yeah, no, I completely and totally did. Absolutely. This is all true. Obviously, this is all true. I could have raised him maybe $500,000, says Raj Matar. Maybe I could have raised him. Listen, if I was supportive, if it wasn't for the fact that these guys convinced me that he was some kind of criminal, I could have raised him $500,000. And now I'm hearing that he's not a criminal and that those guys lied. That's weird, man. Think about all the money that
Yeah. Think about all the money that Razerfist lost because of that. Holy smokes, that's really horrible. Problem is, Ghost of the Badlands, they closed everything out back August of last year after he made $350,000 on it. I forget when the campaign started. It was early last year or late the year before, right? And I haven't gone back and checked, but I'm pretty sure that Ethan, in fact, did back him up to talk about it. But even if he didn't, all this jackassery with Smash and Kino Casino guys have only been the last couple months. Right? So there's no possible way that Van Sciver pulling his support because of these accusations at all affected the Ghost of the Badlands stuff, which was last year. And also, he's working. Razor says he's working on Ghost of the Badlands too, but who knows when that campaign's going to be. And you could interpret this as a threat for the future, but that would require completely having no sense of humor or ability to see sarcasm when you see it. And another thing, this joke is playing into the whole lawsuit defamation thing that everybody is thinking that Razerfist was going to do, even though he didn't say he was going to do that. He just said he was going to end their YouTube careers for these guys. I don't know how, but it's up to whatever. But if you're going to sue for defamation, you got to show damages, right? If you're going to sue anybody for anything, you got to show damages. And if you're a public figure, there's other things you have to show that they, knew it wasn't true, didn't care, all kinds of other things like that. But so Ethan here is going with the joke and showing, hey, look at all these damages Razerfist got because of these two schmucks. And it's part of the bit. It's part of the joke. 400,000, 500,000. It's part of the joke. Yeah, this is obvious, guys. Now, I get it. Right? I don't get it. I wasn't fully there. But looking back at all the history, I see that Del Arroz and Van Sciver have kind of had a beef for a long time, years. In fact, this stream that Van Sciver did, he was talking about stuff with Yellow Flash back in the past, and Del Arroz came up a few times and was like, hey, they didn't have much good to say about him even back then, apparently. And he's been doing his own thing and throwing shade back and forth. I have nothing against Jon. Like I said, the times I've interacted with him, he's been a good dude. I've backed his campaigns. I enjoy his work. He does sometimes like to get into the internet drama thing, especially with his old stream. Now that he's moved over to Fandom Pulse, it's a little different, but he does like to do the drama thing sometimes, which is fine. Certainly, he's better at the YouTube thing than I am. He's both those guys are, obviously. But I can understand why he wouldn't have gone or even thought to go to Van Sciver's stream from last night. For context on that tweet, how would you know to do that unless you were already tuned in? I wouldn't have known unless I'd happened to be tuning in last night. If I hadn't happened to be tuning in last night just to learn more about what the guy's actually doing and the context of all this chicanery, I wouldn't have known that it was a bit, that he was just being sarcastic and screwing around. But it is, and he was. So Jon's being a little... Jon's off base here, right? I'm pretty sure he didn't know the context, saw that. If I didn't know the context and saw that, if I had seen Jon's video without seeing it, I'd been right there with Jon. Man, Van Sciver's really being a jerk about this. What the hell is he jumping on Razerfist for? I would have gotten there too, probably. It's a little ironic, though, because just the other day, he and Vox and Smash JT had a discussion about chicanery between Smash and Jon, and over the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 thing, and he had this to say.
And I recognize that because I'm well read enough to recognize that. And maybe if you have a question on people's motivations and where they're at on this, what I'd love to see is a DM, call me or whatever. I'll give you my phone number. Be like, hey, what do you mean by this? And what does this person mean by this? And look at us and what we're saying in the light charitably that you gave Daniel Vavra, the Jewish gay guy who was putting gay stuff into the Embracer group. Look at us as charitably as you would look at him. Is that fair enough? Like, why wouldn't you give us the same benefit of the doubt you'd give Daniel Vavra?
Now, I know the circumstance is different, right? There's a lot of history between Del Arroz and Van Sciver, where there is none between Smash JT and Vavra. And there was, the whole lot between Del Arroz and Vavra either, except for looking at the guy's previous press statements. And so maybe that bridge was burned. Maybe if Jon reached out to Ethan or vice versa, they would both tell each other to piss off. I'm not explaining myself to you. I don't know, maybe. But I do find it ironic that he's asking for charity, a little more for charity from Smash, the same charity that Smash would give to Vavra that would be given to him. But he's also not given any charity here to Van Sciver. I know, bad blood going back years. It's not much you can do about that. But I do think it's unfortunate. I said this on a forum the other day when I was talking about something related to this, not to the whole Rippa EVS Del Arroz thing. I basically said I don't understand the beef between Rippa and EVS. I really don't understand why Jon's getting into it. And that's when the people started explaining some of the background on it and what set me off on this history lesson for myself. But I did say there that I thought, as somebody said, it's a shame that things are like this. And I agreed. I think it is a shame. I said there, it would be better. Everybody in this whole sphere would be better off if they don't have to work together, but at least, try to mutually support, and don't do the internet drama, internet drama crap, right? I mean, I guess maybe a group. And I'm not saying that that's what Jon's explicitly doing here. I'm talking about the whole fracas between the two sides, the rippaverse guys and the comicsgate sides, and blah blah blah. It's like, it seems like so much effort and time and energy that could be put to some better use. Now, maybe this is beneficial for both of their businesses because, hey, the conflict is driving clicks and driving views, and maybe that drives sales, and that probably does to an extent, but it's like, for the love of Pete, it's just so tiresome. You would think the colleagues would be able to work together and support each other, especially when they're independent artists, and you'd be, supporting each other can help everybody do better. Now, I know that's not the real world and that's not how things are, but it is a shame that it's jacked up like this. Anyway, I think Jon's wrong in this. I don't think he's necessarily being malicious. I don't think he's trying to lie. I think he just didn't. Yeah, clearly didn't. He was doing something else. There's no reason for him to have known what Ethan was saying on his stream last night. And he just took it uncharitably. But I think he's wrong. And I just felt like saying so just for my own edification, and because I've determined that I need to start doing more on this channel, because at this point all I do is read stories and occasionally listen to some music or whatever. And the whole point, the reason I started this damn thing was so when I do things like finish books, more people can know about them and I can sell more books. And I haven't without growing the channel at all. That's not really going to work. So here we go. First step into that one, I guess. That's not the real reason. I mean, I object to what Jon's take on this video, which is the real reason I'm doing this, but it helps to, take my next step into doing this thing a little more seriously too. Anyway, that's it. I'm done with this. If you got something out of it, cool. If not, sorry if I pissed you off. Well, is what it is. Go check out my books anyway, and I'll show you how right now. All right, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, Kingswood, I love that story. How can I buy your books? Great question. Here's the answer. Best way to buy my books is to come over to my site, michaelkingswood.com/store. That will bring you to this place, which is my company's store where you can get books, merchandise, all kinds of great stuff that I've set up. And but you're wondering how it works. Well, here, let's check out Glimmervale Chronicles, which is my heroic fantasy series that I've talked a lot about. If you haven't read it yet, you really should. It's a super fun series. Everything you would want. You should start with Glimmervale, which is the first book. Come over here to Glimmervale. It'll load up. Hey, look at that. You get the book description, links to other books in the series, great stuff. And you can pick the format you want. You got ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook. Not everything I've written is an audiobook yet, but almost everything's a trade paperback and everything's an ebook. But like, hey, I know what you're thinking. Hey, I'm buying from you. How do I get the ebook? There's a service that I work with called BookFunnel. When you buy from my site, they will send you a link. That link will lead you to a page where they will walk you through how to load your ebook onto the device you're choosing, or you can just download it to computer and do whatever you want with it. So that way it's easy peasy. Maximum profit for me. All kinds of fun for you. But I know, a lot of you guys, you like your Kindles, you like your other things, and you want to go straight to the retailer, and that's fine. You can come over here to michaelkingswood.com/books2read, the number 2. And I have this handy dandy universal book-like aggregator page set up. You can scroll through, look at all my stories, all my books, and pick which one you want, and then go from there. Here's how it works. Let's do Glimmervale again. So Glimmervale, first book in the series, you click on it, you get this thing, you get the book description, you get all other books in the series, and you say, get it now. Okay, get it now. Look what happens. Every retailer where you can find it is here. You can pick the one that you like best and say, okay, cool. Well, let's say I wanted to buy it in, I don't know, let's just say Kobo, because why not? Click on it. And then it'll ask you, is this your favorite store? If so, you set it. So every time you come back, you don't have to choose. It'll just go take you to your favorite store. But let's just, you don't have to do that. Well, we're going on to Kobo. Hoo-yah. Hey, look at this. Here it is on the Kobo site. People like it. People have bought it. Good stuff. Links to other things of mine. And, or you can do one of the other stores that you like. Either way, you get the book you like. I get money. It's all good.